These men, revolutionaries, one known for his peaceful approach to protest, the other remembered as a violent extremist. What is their legacy? What are some of the things people take from their success? We asked Jesse these questions.
Hello. Well, my name is DeAunna Thomas, and I'll be interviewing you today. Can you please introduce yourself?
I'm Jesse Cornelius, and I'm a third-year architecture student here at UK.
What do you plan to do with that?
I'm not really 100% sure yet, but see what life takes me.
Where are you from, Jesse?
From Owensboro, Kentucky.
Can you describe that to someone who's never been there?
It's kind of a smaller town. It's smaller than Lexington by far. It's not considered small for Kentucky, I guess. It's on the western side of Kentucky. It's right on the Ohio River.
And the demographic? Is it mostly white people, mostly black people?
I was like, girls?
Needs background, show how white he is. Excuse you, stay out of my interview. Go ahead.
Keep playing, keep recording.
Okay.
So what do you know about the Black Lives Matter movement?
I know they need the same amount of privileges as a typical white person.
So that's their. Do you know anything about the methods that they do, or anything that they do?
No.
How about the NFL protests?
I know I've heard like the players like knee down or something. For that might be a completely different topic. I don't even know.
No, that you're correct. Go with it. Go confident.
And that's all I know.
Is that they
And
do
a lot of people hate it. That's all I know.
Well, just to educate you a little bit, the NFL movement is started with Colin Kaepernick, and he kneeled down because of the police brutality against black people, and he felt that because black people in America weren't being respected and protected, that he would not stand or place his hand over his heart for the flag or the national anthem, and a lot of NFL players followed his lead. Who do you feel had the biggest influence on each movement? And this we're talking about Malcolm X and MLK. Do you feel like they're both? Or?
I feel like both. Like MLK, I would say it's more popular, so I feel like he had like more of an impact than Malcolm X. But Malcolm X more, if I remember correctly, like he was more violent. I think he was.
That is also correct.
Yeah. So it's two different approaches.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like MLK was a little more successful.
Yeah, MLK's movement was all about the nonviolence, the protesting. That's what you see in the news. You watch it, and Malcolm X, he was more about black pride and stuff like that, which is also a lot of where that comes from. Why do you think the Black Lives Matter movement and the ML protests have had such negative media surrounding them?
I feel like people take it the wrong way, like especially the flag.
Mm-hmm.
Like the military, for example, they fight for this country and they take that very offensive. It's like, what did we do to you? Like stuff like that.
As a white person, how do you feel this affects you?
It does affect me. I feel like because I know a lot of black people. I'm not like racist, so like I don't know. I guess it affects me.
Any last thoughts, overall feelings?
I don't know.
Do you feel like you should educate yourself more on these movements?
Yes,
To be a better ally?
Don't know much.
Alright then. Nice talking with you.
Nice talking to you.
The Civil Rights Campaign was the first widespread movement of its kind. Beginning in the early 1960s, this campaign followed as a response to racial inequality in the United States. Prominent figures, such as MLK and Malcolm X, helped to shape the contrastive ideologies and doctrines of this campaign. Where MLK favored nonviolence, a pacifistic method of protest to garnish political and social change, X preferred change by whatever means necessary. In one interview by X, provided by the Louis B. Nunn Center, quote, "I believe a Negro should reserve the right to defend himself by whatever means necessary." Following the death of Trayvon Martin in 2012, the Black Lives Matter movement has developed as a response to racial injustice still inherent in today's culture. Unlike the Civil Rights Campaign, however, The Black Lives Matter movement has encompassed a variety of ideologies, both presented by Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X, and has had an impact both within and outside of the country. The NFL protest, started by Colin Kaepernick of the New England Patriots, has been the most recent of racial protests to follow under social and political scrutiny. Addressing many of the claims presented by the Black Lives Matter movement and the Civil Rights Campaign, the protests have emulated nonviolent methods promoted by MLK and sparked similar protests within the NFL.
Hello, my name is DeAunna Thomas. I'm going to be interviewing you today about some things that have been currently going on politically in our country, mostly involving like the NFL protests and Black Lives Matter. Can you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, I am DeAunna Thomas. I'm 17 years old and I go to Allen Heights High School.
Where are you from, Destiny?
I am originally born in Hopkinsville, Kentucky, but right now I reside in Texas, San Antonio.
Why is that?
I am an Army brat. My mom travels a lot for the military.
So you have a little bit of perspective on Army life.
Yes.
Okay. What do you know about the Black Lives Matter movement?
I know that a lot of people are very adamant about the rights of African Americans and protesters and basically people who feel that there should be more rights and more privileges to the African American community. That's basically all I know.
What about the NFL protests?
I know that Colin Kaepernick started the movement 2016, and I know he hasn't had any work since. And I know that a lot of other African American and Caucasian players have been protesting as well to that Colin Kaepernick after he lost his job.
That's true. Do you know the reason why they're protesting?
They're protesting basically, I want to say, for the social injustices in America.
That's pretty much it. Who do you feel had the biggest influence on these two movements? Talking about methodology, like the way they are implemented, like MLK, or excuse me, Martin Luther King Jr. or Malcolm X, or do you know anything about them enough to draw on them?
I would say with my knowledge of Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X was more of an extremist and he believed in violence in order to get his point across, as opposed to Martin Luther King, who believed in basically not being violent. I guess that would be the right
Peaceful
word.
protest.
Peaceful protest, yes. So he believed basically in using peaceful protest in order to get his point across. So I would say, based on the movements and the fact that they're not being violent, I would say that it would be more based on Martin Luther King's ideology.
Why do you think the Black Lives Matter movement and the NFL protests have had such negative media surrounding them?
That's a tough question. I would have to say there is, I still believe, a lot of underlying racism in America, and I would think that people who are constantly told that something is being wrong or a certain race is feeling a particular type of way, that people are feeling upset for the lives of black people that are being lost. And because people are protesting it, it's almost the new racism is saying that racism doesn't exist anymore. So I would say probably, what was the...
Why? Let me try to word this differently for your little brain. Why do you think that people are focusing on the negative aspects of these two movements instead of the positives? That's what I'm trying to ask in the media.
I think that's a negative or a very hard question to answer because people typically like to focus on the negative, if that makes sense.
Yes, that makes total sense.
So, I mean, if somebody's saying negative or anything negative about a certain race, of course they're going to only focus on the negative things that are happening. For example, like with Black Lives Matter protests, more often than not, violence does not happen at a Black Lives Matter protest, but people only grapple onto the negative because it's something that they don't necessarily want to believe in. So that's probably why there's more negative media surrounding that, because it's almost like, I don't know why, but now in America it's almost like Americans don't want to believe that racism still exists and it's still an underlying issue in America, and they want to believe that it's not here anymore because we're living in a day and age where technology is advancing and gay people can now marry in America. So now it's kind of an underlying issue of people just subconsciously thinking that racism is gone just because, which is actually very false.
Okay. How do you feel this affects you in your day-to-day life?
I feel a lot of times, it's not often something that I say out loud, and especially at the school that I go to, because I do go to Alamo Heights High School, which is a predominantly white high school and a predominantly rich white high school. So a lot of people's parents are very Republican and very one-sided in their views, and I do feel like a lot of times that people do see the color of my skin, and a lot of times that actually makes it to where some people, I feel, do not want to get to know me personally just because. And I also feel as if because they live in rich white societies and the people that I'm surrounded with, that they don't necessarily know about the injustices or are just unaware of anything that's going on surrounding black people just because it's not in their environment and they aren't being taught. So I'd say that mostly I feel as if people don't care about stuff that I care about when it comes to the black community, and in turn it kind of affects my relationships with people in this community.
Okay. Any last thoughts or comments on the movement?
No.
In summary, it's evident to see the impact the Civil Rights Campaign, the Black Lives Matter movement, and the NFL protests have had on the current social stratosphere of today's culture. However, when examining these interviews, we can see the lack of the diffusion of knowledge. As an ending question for the audience, what can we as UK students do to educate ourselves about the current state of racial inequality that still exists in America?